And welcome everybody. Glad you're here. Go ahead and sign in when you are ready, either using the Smart app or the app on your smartphone or tablet, or go to the website kahoot.it and use the pin in the top. All right, amazing Wallaby, you're first in. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Congrats. All right, Russia is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Giannis is here. Brandon is here from Iraq. Welcome. CTNS NC from Hollywood, California. Welcome, welcome. I grew up in Southern California. I worked at Paramount Pictures in 1994 and 1995 on their networks. 5555 Melrose Avenue. Good times. Good times. That was when technology was still quite new. And I think we had Token Ring back then. Yeah. 94, 95, we're still running our networks on Token Ring. If you haven't worked or heard of Token Ring, congratulations. That's awesome. Hopefully you'll never have to. All right. Giannis is here. Shazan is here. Welcome. Balahi, always good to see you. Jay Strix is here from Michigan. Africa is in the house. It's DKS. Welcome. Vayamal is here from India. Also, let's see here. Astiva is here. Welcome. Oh, right. Abdullah passed my CCNA last week, says Abdullah. Oh, that is so great. Congratulations. I couldn't be happier. What a great way to kick off my middle of the weekend. I was so glad. Congratulations. A lot of work and worth it. Just keep on studying, keep on enjoying the journey. All right. Belgium's in the house. Nick003. Oh, and awesome RX. I love it. Nick, I love how you're just willing to put it out there, your screen name for the event, which is fantastic. Let me go ahead and maximize the screen as well. Get a little more real estate there. We're going to start here in about 4 minutes. Let me finish saying good morning to people who are chatting in. Lafayette is here. Good morning. North Carolina is in the house. Daniel's here. My brother lives in Raleigh. He loves it, Raleigh. So beautiful there. I know North Carolina is a lot more than just Raleigh. When I used to teach for one of the CCNA training companies, I did a few classes at Research Triangle Park, RTP. Cisco at least used to have a CCNA lab there. Greenland's in the house. Nice. Hi, Tom Peel. Hello, Nick. Welcome, welcome. And Lafayette says, I have a T question. I'm not sure I understand that. Please elaborate. All right, Brandon's here. 9 days until the exam. Brandon, check out the playlist here. It's free on YouTube. My practice, was it the quiz playlist is what it's called. And you just go through those and make sure you're comfortable with that level of knowledge on those topics. And if you've been studying, that can help you clarify any areas you need to. All right, Splixie's saying, I am Speedy Yak. That's great. All right. Hi, Ronald. Welcome. Saso's here. Lafayette has a real question about ACLs and quarantine VLANs. Tell you what, if you have a detailed question like that, right after the quiz, I have a little, I'm going to hang out in the Discord room or my Discord server for like 15 to 30 minutes. You just come and visit me there. I'll be in the CCNA voice chat room right after the stream is done. And we can chat about quarantine, which is also going to involve nice servers as a heads up. All right, video number 150. Thank you, Estiva. And Daniel saying Happy Father's Day to all the dads. In the U.S., they have a day today. It's, well, once a year, it's called Father's Day. And in the U.S., that's happening today. So if you are in the U.S. or anywhere in the world and you're a father, Happy Father's Day. And I have 7 children. My youngest is 18 this year, so mostly grown and on their way to doing their own things. Okay, I've got a question from Viamal saying, Sir, how old are you? I'm going to let you do the math on that, Viamal. I was born in 1964, so March 1964, so you can just subtract that from 2021 minus 1964 should be close to 57. All right, Wiley passed his CCNA yesterday. Oh, I'm so pleased. That's great. Thank you for putting in all the work and letting me know. Oh, I'm so happy. That's great. Hello, Monica. Hello, Zach. And Fred saying hello to everyone. Oh, the red special is in the Netherlands. All right, let's see here. Good, Brandon. Awesome. Israel's here. Hello, Aviv. Welcome. Rishba, I mispronounced that, excuse me. Rishab is in the house from India. Fantastic. Thank you. And Jay Lightsabers is shouting out his screen name, which is Champion Lemur. All right, I love it. Oh, Poba's here for the first time. Welcome. So glad to have you here. No, whether you're already a CCNA or studying for it, or maybe you're on past that, this is a fun place to come back and refresh skills. And also, it's good to meet you. So thanks for saying hello. Please enjoy the playlist here on YouTube that I have for CCNA, and also the playlist for the quizzes. They're all free, and my goal is to help you just a little bit in getting towards those goals. So good to have you here. All right, Minnesota's in the house. Poland is in the house. Great. And let's see here. Kenya's here. Hi, Keshi. Welcome from Kenya. International crew, as always. The world's a small place, and IT is connecting us all together. And your skills you learn in CCNA are going to help serve you for the rest of your IT career. They will. These aren't skills that you're like, I'll never need to know what a VLAN is. Yes, you will. Great. All right, and Puzzling Grover says hello from Russia, and good luck, everybody. And VML saying, my question was, how are you, not how old are you? I'm so sorry. I'm doing great. Trevor's in the house. Trevor's one of our admins on Discord, putting in a lot of good effort and time in helping others. My gratitude goes out to everybody on our Discord server, the admins, the moderators, we have I think we're over 8,000 people now. People helping other people with the, studying and with answering questions and having a community. It's great. Thank you, George. Oh, Blendinator, thank you for the super sticker. Blendinator's wishing everybody. Sticker says, good luck with the megaphone. Looks like a cat or a fox. Nice. All right, let's, time to get this party started. For everybody else, Portugal's here. For everybody who's here, welcome. For those of you who are brand new today, a special welcome to you as well. We do these every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's the time zone I'm in, so adjust your calendars respectively. Also, 10 o'clock a.m. every single Saturday, Pacific time again. I have my office hour. It's free. Office hour, an hour, usually goes an hour and a half to 2, but the first hour is definitely CCNA focused. You can just, if you're studying something like spanning tree, I don't quite get this, or I don't get that, come see us in office hour every Saturday. It's a voice chat room on my Discord server, and we're happy to take all the CCNA questions that we can fit in. And we have a great time. Yesterday, I learned two new things that I didn't know. And based on the questions that came up, we brought up an emulator or simulator and answered the questions. And it was like, yeah, here's what I think is going to happen. Is that true? So I'm grateful for the discussion and the camaraderie. And with that, we are going to go ahead and start. So good luck, everybody. Also, if you do me a favor, if you have something to write with, jot down that PIN number, which is at the top of the screen right here. And if somebody comes in late and they say, what's the PIN number? It should be near the bottom. But if it gets covered up for some reason, just kindly chat to them. Here's the PIN number. And if anybody comes in and they insist on putting answers in the chats, I will kindly urge them to join the game, just like you have. All right, here we go. I hope you enjoy this. I enjoyed putting it together. Cisco ACLs, standard and extended, including some show commands based on popular request. And here is question number 1. It is double points. It is multiple select. And the question is this: which of the following can prevent SSH from the 10.2.0 subnet trying to make it over to R1? Good luck, everybody. And again, glad you're here. So for this question, if you haven't already submitted the answer yet, you want to choose all the answers that are correct and then submit. And the way this goes, if you're new to this game, this new environment, the quicker you answer correctly, the more points you get. So it's not a competition. Or is it? Really, the competition is with ourselves. Just making ourselves do a little bit better. And I heard somebody say recently, they said, not every day is going to be your best, but every day you can do the best you can. and if you do your best, that's really all we can ask of ourselves. All right, a lot of great answers on the board. Let's talk about why these are, why the correct answers are the correct answers. First of all, let's talk about preventing SSH over to a router. So there's a router. And if we want to prevent SSH access, what we could do is we could have a filter either here at the inbound on the interface or somewhere in the path. We could have an access control list that's filtering traffic destined to the well-known port of SSH, which is the destination port of TCP port 22. So if we block that, that would do it. Okay, so if we applied an access control list to an interface like that inbound, we would apply that with this command right here, access-group. So you create the access list, or somebody creates the access list, and then it's applied inbound or outbound. In this case, it'd be inbound on this interface, or outbound on this interface, or inbound on this interface if we're trying to go somewhere in the path, right, between the user and the router. And we use the access group to apply the access list to an interface. Not my fault. If somebody asked me 30 years ago or 25 years ago, hey, what is the command? You know, what command should we call this? I wouldn't call it access group. But anyway, that's what they did, and that's how it's applied. As far as what the access list is, it could be a named access list or a numbered access list, and the two types are extended and standard. And so the common range for a standard is like 1 through 99, and the common range for extended is 100 through 199, but you could also use named for either one. So you could use a named access control list that's standard or extended. You just call it what you want. call it Frank, call it Blendinator, call it something. And then as far as this guy right here, why is this true? This had our least number of correct answers. If we wanted to logically control access to this router, we could also do it on the VTY lines. So when anybody who is connecting with SSH or Telnet as well, and they're connecting from this PC over to this router, logically, in the mind of the router, they're connecting on one of the VTY lines. So we have, on many routers, there's 5 VTY lines, 0 through 4. And if we wanted to take an access control list and say, deny a certain source IP address to the standard ACL, we could apply it to the VTY lines, and that would also stop the SSH from happening. Now, the way you apply it to a VTY line is access-class. So for filtering on an interface, it's access group, and to apply an access control list to a logical VTY line, it's access-class. All right, I feel better. I feel like I've been through therapy. And it's really great. It's great to have you here. I'm having a good day. I went swimming today earlier, like an hour ago. I got in the pool for a few minutes, bumped my head. Not so smart. Anyway, it was kind of groggy. Anyway, it's like 108 degrees out right now at it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, so it gets kind of warm here in Vegas. But you know what? It's cool inside. We're all here together. We're all over the world on this quiz. So here is our second question. Good luck, everybody. This is question 2 of 11. Multiple select. Double points. Which interfaces, plural, support the following command? And that's the command in yellow, just to be clear. IP access-group then the name of an access control list, and then the direction, either in or out of the interface. So there's at least 2 answers that are correct, possibly more. Choose all that apply, and good luck. All right, and Kumaran, let's see, Kumaran is saying, joining for the first time. Glad to have you. Let's make this a tradition, a habit. Every Sunday, Pacific time, 11 a.m., there will be a quiz here. Love to have you. Add it to your calendar. All right, these are all true. The key is that if we're the command that we're looking for here is the IP access group, which, and again, these questions, I created them, but they're presented in randomized order in this quiz because I asked the engine to do that. So IP access group is how we apply an access control list for filtering purposes to an interface, a layer 3 interface. And furthermore, all of these represent layer 3 interfaces, like a typical router interface. That's a given. A switch port, if we have a switch, a multi-layer switch, and we go into interface configuration on port 0/4 right here. That's 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 4 right here. 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have picked a lower number. Anyway, that's 3. So if we go to this interface right here and we say, no, switch port, that says, oh, bummer, I don't get to be a switch port. I guess I'll be a layer 3 port. So it's another layer 3 port, just like a router port. A switch virtual interface, which had the least number of votes on it, that's also a layer 3 interface on a multi-layer switch. Interface, VLAN 20, press enter, and boom, you're in interface configuration mode for a logical layer 3 interface that, once it's configured with an IP address, could be a default gateway for anybody who's sitting in VLAN 20. And then an IP sub interface, if we're doing like 802.1q and layer 3 sub interfaces, that would work too. All right, great job. Here we go. Moving on. Let's see who's on the top. We have Legend Fox with 12,818 points. This is only after question number 2. You guys are crushing it. Witty Pigeon, Melodic Gazelle, Kind Panda, and the Gentle Rabbit, all in the top 5. But there's a lot of room for growth here for everybody. Let's go ahead and continue. Here's question number 3. Which ACL entry blocks HTTPS, which would be using like SSL or TLS, those kind of replies to hosts on both internal networks? Those internal networks are 10.1.0 and 10.2.0. Good luck, everybody. Oh, George is from his hospital bed joining us. So glad to have you, George. And hopefully speedy recovery with whatever causes you to be there. I'm certainly glad to spend a few minutes with you today. Thank you, Blendinator, for encouraging that contestant to answer in the queue or in the game. I just put him on a timeout for 300 seconds. Same thing for that next one. So again, if you have a burning desire to answer the questions, go ahead and please do it in the game interface. All right, which ACL entry blocks HTTPS replies to both internal networks? Let's just take a look at the media for just a moment and let's walk through this. Okay, well, first of all, HTTPS, let's just identify what HTTPS replies would look like. So on the initial flow of traffic, I'll go ahead and say this is client to server, C to S, client to server going this way, like that. The initial flow of traffic would be a source IP of the 10.1 or 10.2 as a source, and let's put a source there. And the destination would be whatever the server's address is, and then the destination port would be TCP. If it's HTTPS, the well-known port for that is 443. The source port here would be TCP, who the heck knows? Because a client, when it's going out to a website or doing a DNS request or something else, it's just going to identify a random, currently not used port on that computer and then use that for that session. So as far as a source port for many protocols, they're just going to randomize, take one that's free. But the server is listening on port 443. So that's the initial connection that goes out. Now let's take a look at the reply back. I'll put that in yellow. The reply back, the source is going to be coming from the server at A.B.C.D, whatever that IP address is. The source port is going to be port 443. So if we went to that port on the initial request, everything's flipped on the way back. And so the source would be the server, the source port would be 443, and the destination would be the device on 10.1 or 10.2, whatever that address is of who made the request. And then the destination port would be whatever that client initiated that request with. So that's the flow. And the question is, which ACL entry blocks HTTPS replies coming back? This one says deny TCP traffic. This is an extended ACL entry. Deny TCP traffic if it's sourced from anywhere. That would cover the server address. And the source port is 443. That would cover this part right here. And the destination is on the 10 network, and we don't care about the last 3 octets because the wildcard bits say we don't care about the last 3. So that would certainly do it. And how many answers did we have correct here? Let me check. Let me check. Yeah, just one correct answer. That's the only one on the board that would do it. So if you want to have me elaborate on the other ones that are not correct, you can, right after in the Discord server, I'll be there for a few minutes and we can bring up any of these questions if you want. We can elaborate on them and we can argue. It's not really arguing. That's one of the beautiful things about technical work, IT work, is that there's not a whole bunch of room for subjectivity when it comes to what really is going to work or not work. That's true. All right, moving on. Here we go. We'll click on next to continue. And Legend Fox is in the lead, followed by Woody Pigeon, Melodic Gazelle, Kind Panda, and Giving Ferret. Oh, I love it. Oh, here's question 4 of 11. We are on a roll. Multiple select, also double points. Here it is. Which commands, plural, may be used to check, to see if an access control list is actually being used somewhere on the config? Good luck, everyone. All right, George is in the hospital joining us. I say we give George an extra 5,000 points at the end. So George, pay attention to your points, and I'd like to give you a bonus 5,000 on top of it, because if you can show up to this quiz from your hospital room or from the hospital, man, that is some commitment. Love it. Let's use the time whenever we have it to improve. All right, which commands may be used to check if an ACL is being used? I think if we did show IP interface, that would show us if we had a filtering ACL. That is a fancy way of saying an ACL that's applied to a layer 3 interface that's being used for the purpose of filtering traffic with permits and denies. If we did a show run section line, that's going to show us our VTY lines. All our configs, so 0 through 4 and the console, and if you're on some gear, maybe an auxiliary line as well. And so that way, if there was an access class, which was using an ACL, we would see it with this guy. This show run include line, that's only going to show output that has literally the word line in it. So sorry about that. Couldn't help myself. But so it's just going to, the output of that's going to say like line, VTY, 0 space 4, and it'll say maybe auxiliary, and it'll say console, but it won't have the contents. It won't show you what's in the configuration of those VTY lines, but the word line's there, and that's what's showing up. So green is not good for that reason. And then show IP NAT statistics. Not too many people jumped on that, but that's literally how you could see whether or not an access control list is being used as part of a NAT rule. I'll put PAT rule there as well. So it'll show you things like is there which interfaces are in and inside and outside. It'll show you which access control list is used as part of a NAT rule if you're using it as part of a NAT rule. If you're doing PAT and NAT, well, if you did a static NAT, you wouldn't need it. But if you're using dynamic NAT and you want to identify who qualifies to be translated, you definitely use an access control list for that. All right, well, now we know. Good job. And let's move forward. Here we go. Question 5 of 11, multiple select. Also double points. Which of the following are true regarding this access list called our_list if, is a big if it's applied outbound on a layer 3 interface? Yesterday in the office hour, I was reminded of access control lists by Dave and others. I appreciate that. And also had a request for more show commands. So I included those as well. All right. Well, a lot of great answers on the board. Let's see if we need to discuss any more of those further. Let's see. If we apply the access list that showed outbound on layer 3 interface, what are true? Oh, well, even without looking again at the diagram, which we can do that if we want to again, an extended ACL is going to have the keywords regarding protocol in it, like is it IP or in the IP, which represents IP version 4, by the way. Is it something specific like at layer 4, like TCP? Is it UDP? Is it GRE? Is it OSPF, which is a layer 4 protocol? Is it EIGRP, also a layer 4 protocol? Or is it a number, which you can also use a number there for the protocol if you want. Well, let's see here. Can you do that? I'm going to scratch that off because Packet Tracer may not support that. Anyway, so if it has the protocol specified in it and it includes source and destination information, that is an extended ACL, because a standard ACL only looks at source IP address information. That's it. So you don't have the keywords of IP or any protocols. That's a giveaway. So it's not a standard ACL, and denies OSPF hellos. How many did I get on that? About 42. Let's talk about that for a moment. This is something that I probably didn't learn for maybe I didn't really appreciate, I'll say that, for many years after I got my CCNA, which was like in 1998. And then I got my first CCIA in 2001 and another one in 2003. Anyway, what I'd like to share with you now is how this works. If we have an access list called our list, and we've applied it with the access group command, and that's interface 01, and we applied it outbound on that interface, that does not block, even if there's deny statements in it, it's not going to block any traffic that is sourced by this router. That means if this router, let's say we logged into this router and we tried to do a telnet session or SSH session out to another device, any traffic that's sourced by this router itself doesn't give a hoot about any kind of denies or anything else regarding an access list that's applied outbound on the interface. It just says, well, that access control list that you put there with the access group command, that applies to transit traffic that came from somewhere else trying to go through. But traffic I'm generating, I'm never going to pay attention to that, says the router. And that's how it works. So as far as this question right here, if we have OSPF hellos or OSPF running, and this guy's sending hellos every 10 seconds by default on an Ethernet network, those hellos are not going to be stopped by any outbound ACL. Now, the other side, if it had an inbound ACL, we could deny it because it's inbound. But as far as this router with an outbound ACL, it's not going to stop it. And that's why blue is not correct. And then not using default sequences, about 54 of us said that was true. Let's take a look real quick at the output. And as I look at this show access list command, I can see here that it goes 10, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. So by default, when you create an access control list, it's going to automatically sequence every single entry by 10, 10, 20, 30, etc. So the benefit of that is you could go in later and you could say delete 10 or delete 20 or delete 60. Or if you needed to add a new line, which is what I did for this. I did this in Packet Tracer, by the way. You just basically create your access, go back into access, go back into named extended access configuration mode, and just add that line, that number first, and that way it can tell it where you want in the sequence. So if you like, oh, I forgot to put this one entry, or I need to modify my ACL, you can do so just by looking at the ACL and then picking a number between 10 and 20 if you want to put it here, or between 20 and 30 to put it here. So it's not using the default sequencing numbers because I added a line. All right, and that's the only one that's not a default standard sequence is the 25 that I added. All right, let's go ahead and see who's on top here. And Zany Koala, followed by Melodic Gazelle, Melodic Yak, Witty Pigeon, and Majestic Gecko. All right, and I'm just taking a look real quick. Melodic Yak. Okay, so no pressure, but that's Trevor right there. That's the admin, one of our admins on Discord. I'm not sure if Kelvin's playing or not, but that's I've got my eye on you. So congratulations for everybody for participating and playing and having fun. This is all meant to help reinforce concepts and maybe help identify. Whoa, I didn't realize that. I learned something new today. If that happens, that's a great thing. All right, here we go. Question 6 of 11. Oh, Kelvin is not playing. Thank you, Kelvin. Which ACL entry permits DNS requests to Google, which is their DNS server? One of the IP addresses is 8888. Which ACL permits DNS requests to Google from both internal networks? That's 10.1 and 10.2. And Jay Strict is asking, am I going to post this video later? I'm just going to leave it up. I'm going to leave this one up. So when it's done, it'll remain as a persistent record. I'll add it to the playlist of quiz, and it'll be there for your review. I also want to thank Kelvin, who is in the house but not playing the game. I want to thank him and all of our admins and all the moderators for all their work. A lot of giving going on. I appreciate that. Boom, majority answers on the 2 right answers. So if you are learning access control list, one of the best ways of practicing this is to lab it up. Packet Tracer is absolutely free, and I still vividly remember when I was learning this technology many years ago that some of these concepts didn't come easy for me, but the more I practiced with them and labbed them up and then looked at the results and said, why doesn't that work? Or why does this work? The better I got. And that journey can continue for forever. So again, if you want to chat about the syntax or any of these, please let me know in the Discord server right after, and I'd be happy to spend some more time elaborating if you like. Okay, Zany Koala is still on top, followed by Melodic Gazelle, Majestic Gecko, Woody Pigeon, and Dandy Hen. All right, we are in. We are more than halfway done. This is multiple select and also double points. ACLs, access control lists, are intended to block FTP to the internet, but they're not working. What could cause that? This is just a general question as opposed to interpreting syntax. Again, great to have everybody here. Thank you for joining me today. All right, they're all true. I do that occasionally. Well, maybe I do it kind of often too. Probably at least once a quiz, I may have all of them that are applicable. And also sometimes I change them up and mix them up. So just in a certification exam with Cisco, they are going to tell you how many to choose. They're not going to say, choose all that might apply in a good day if it's not raining. But they're going to say, choose one, like a little radio button, or they'll say, choose two, or choose, they're not likely to say, they could change it. That's true. But they're going to be very specific. Their goal is not to try to trick you. Their goal is to say, does this person understand the technology that we asked them to study based on the blueprint? Do they know it? And if the answer is yes, because you've studied and labbed it up, a lot of these questions are going to be easy for you. So great job on this one for everybody. Here is our next question. Question 8 of 11. Multiple select. Which ACL entries that are applied in the path on R2 would deny SSH secure shell from PC1, which is at .51, to the server, which is at 10.1.0.100. Thank you, Blendinator. And Chica is saying, wow, this is really hard. It's interesting how hard things at the beginning, when we start to lean into them and get more familiar with them, they can become our strengths. And that will happen with people who continue studying, like you guys. If you just continue to lean in and study, you'll get a little better and a little better. And you'll look back in a year or two and say, whoa, I remember when I was first studying this. And now, those fundamentals, piece of cake. You got this. It's a journey. It's not a race. It's a journey. And one well worth taking. Sorry, Icy. All right, before I cover that, I forgot I wore this shirt intentionally today. I have a dear friend who I've known for more than 2 decades, Anthony Sequeira. He does work with many people, but he's working with Splunk right now. And this shirt, I love it. So there's a pipe symbol in this shirt that I use with this show, run, pipe section for line. And anyway, so there we go. Little shout out to Anthony Sequeira. If you're out there listening, Anthony, love you, brother. All right, here we go. Continuing on. These are the 2 correct answers based on the syntax of what would take to make that happen. And here we go. Question 9 of 11. We're rounding the corner here towards the end. Multiple select. Which ACL entries applied in the path deny internet HTTP replies, which would be coming back from the server to PC1 and PC2? And you might be thinking, Keith, this is very similar to the question about HTTPS. And you'd be very, very correct. Very similar. So it'd be looking for a source for the reply, a source coming from port 80, if that helps anybody who hasn't answered already. All right, so why are blue and red correct? Let's take a look real quick. So the replies, as they come back into these devices, this direction, this one right here says deny IP. So in an extended access control list, that parameter right there is referring to the protocol. So IP, when it says IP, that means any protocol in the IPv4 stack. And it could be any layer 4 protocol. It doesn't matter. So IP says any IP packets that are IPv4, if they're sourced from any IP address, we don't care what the source IP address is, but they're destined to 10.2.0, that's what this means with this wildcard mask, then go ahead and just destroy it. Just boom, drop that traffic. And that's why that one's correct. That would deny it. If it was in the path, either inbound on 00 or outbound on 01 or inbound on 02 or outbound on 03, if it's applied in the path, that would stop it. The other one is right here, which is, let's take a look at what that is. What does that say? That says, deny TCP traffic from any source address if that source port equals 80 going to any IP address. And that would definitely kill it too, with the source port being 80. All right, and if you have questions on these, come chat with me in Discord right after, and I'll be happy to elaborate on them with you. Okay, we've got just 2 more. Zany Koala still on the lead. Melodic Yak is still. Trevor's still in the mix. Majestic Gecko, Melodic Gazelle, and Inspired Rhino. Top 5. There are 2 more. Plenty of time to change things. How many online quizzes have you watched or participated in live? I would like to know, and there's no points for this, but you have my undying gratitude for letting me know. And I just want to get a feel for where we're at as a group. And I would if I was studying CCNA today and I had access to Keith myself, I would say I would schedule my 10 a.m. Saturdays Pacific time and 11 a.m. Sundays Pacific time free of charge to join my office hour and also my Kahoots, my quizzes. All right. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's great. Great. So welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. It's nice to be on this journey with you. And in 10 years, it's going to be amazing because we can look back on this time and think, wow, I remember 10 years ago when we were just studying CCNA or just studying CCNP or I was just working on my CCNA, whatever it was, and how we've grown over the years because I grow too. And it's just fun to stay in touch and over the years. So congratulations for everybody for spending the time. This is our final question, and it is worth points. And here it is. This is question 11. It is multiple select. Which access control lists, as part of a NAT/PAT rule, includes PC2, which is at the address of 10.2.0.50? All right, Alex, so glad you're here. Thanks for letting me know. And Alex and everybody else, I've got a full playlist of all these quizzes, or most of the quizzes, on my YouTube channel if you need to catch up on any of them. Kranthi, come see me in the Discord server right after the live quiz, the live stream. I'd be happy to elaborate. Mohammed's here for the first time too. Welcome everybody. All right, which ACLs as part of a NAT source rule would include PC2? And they are all true. And so let's just see why that is. So the PC, I think, was at 10.2.0.50. That's its source address. So to match that in a standard ACL, which these all are, this says match on 10.2 anything. Great, that's a check. And based on the wildcard mask, this says match on 10.2.0 anything. That matches, that's a check. Permit host 10.2.0.50. That means that's the equivalent of doing this for a wildcard 0000 with a wildcard mask. Use the keyword host. So that's a match. That matches on that address. And permit 10, and this says match on 10 anything based on this wildcard mask. And let me just back that up a little bit. Burp, burp, burp. Based on this wildcard mask. So that's a check. All right. Access control lists. It's not my fault that they call them access control lists. What they really should call them, I think, is a tool to identify certain types of traffic. But that takes too much to say, right? Because access control lists aren't just used for filtering. They can be. We can apply them to an interface with access group. We can apply them to a VTY line with access class. We can use them for quality of service. We can use them as part of NAT and PAT rules, and there's other uses as well. But the primary thing in CCNA, a lot of times they focus on is, filtering purposes and also with NAT. But I want to make you aware of that learning this and learning the access control list, you may never have in production be applying these to interfaces for filtering, but understanding how they work and then using them with OSPF or with BGP or with prefix filtering and such, it's going to come in handy. Trust me, it's going to be worthwhile. It's going to be important to know. All right, let's see who won. And in reality, you all won because you're here. And let's go ahead and take a look at the podium. Congrats, everybody, and then we'll take a few questions. All right, Melodic Yak and Melodic Gazelle got some melodies going on. Congrats, and Zany Koala. Congratulations. All right, let's take a look at the hardest questions. We had 9 questions, which were fairly difficult, and this shows us the percentage correct on them. So, yeah, a little room for improvement. And I think this is just showing us anything under 35%. So, some room for improvement, no problem, no worries. And let me also get some feedback from you as well. So if you could, if you're on the game interface on the smart device or smartphone or on the web, there's an option to provide some feedback that'd be valuable for me as well. And let me go ahead here and share the shirt one more time with you. So again, thanks to Anthony Sequeira for sending me that. I totally cracked up when Splunk has great shirts, and they have a great product as well. But I really appreciate this shirt. It has the pipe in it, and very clever stuff. All right, let me make sure I'm on the right camera. I am. Let me bring over the Q&A, and if you want to ask a question right now in the live Q&A, just something that can be answered fairly quickly without diagramming it, just do an @KeithBarker, and what I will do is I will look for my name in that list, and I'll go ahead and answer that real quick if you have a question. I'm going to look for them right now going forward, and that way I can keep on top of it. And then right after, for those of you who are interested, I'm going to jump over on the Discord server in the CCNA voice chat room, and it's just kind of an open forum. So if you want to ask questions or follow up on any of these quiz questions for the first 10 or 15 minutes, I'm happy to do it. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. My name is Keith Barker. I happen to be a CCIE, that's a Cisco Certified Internet Network Expert. I've got a couple of those, one in routing and switching, one for security. And I've been working with Cisco since about 1998, 1999, when I got my first CCNA, and then my CCNP, and then my CCIEs, and there's still more to learn. All right, so let me see if there's Nick is asking, what are the 2 new things you learned about during office hours yesterday? Oh, great question. So thanks for asking. Good, appreciate that. So Slack, not Slack like the collaboration tool SLACK, but SLAAC, the automatic assignment for IPv6 addresses with EUI64. What it does, it creates a host address, an IPv6 host portion in the last 64 bits, and it takes the MAC address on the interface, which is 48 bits, and it splits it down the middle, and it stuffs in there 16 more bits, FFFE, in the middle. I believe that's correct. So it stuffs those 16 bits in the middle. It also flips the 7th bit from the left. Just because it does, that's all. And so the question was, well, what if we're using a serial interface, which doesn't have a layer 2 MAC address because it's not Ethernet, it's a serial interface, what does it do? And I said, here's what I think it'll do. And then we labbed it up in Packet Tracer and verified it did it. It borrows a MAC address from the lowest numbered Ethernet interface on that same box. And so I just pulled that MAC address, borrowed it, stuffed in the 16 bits, flipped the bit, 7th from the left, and it was done. So that was one of the things. And what was the other thing I learned? The other thing I learned escapes me, but it was something like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that. But that was the major takeaway. Oh, the second thing was from Troubled. That's the code. That's the name. That's the name he uses over on Discord. And it was about high availability with wireless LAN controllers, which I'd never looked into, and it was new to me. So, fault tolerance is great. Fault tolerance, the essence of it is that you have a network, and if you have a single fault, you want the network to be able to tolerate that fault and keep on providing service. Ta-da! And usually that involves two of something, like 2 controllers that work with each other, or 2 firewalls, or 2 routers with things like HSRP, or firewalls with high availability, HA for short. And so that was another thing that I learned yesterday in the office hour. So thank you for that follow-up question. Let's see here. Strict is asking again if I could repost this quiz later. I think I answered that already, but just as a confirmation, I'm going to just leave it up. So sometimes I'll record them locally and I'll spend a few hours editing them down. But what YouTube does for us is, since this is live, once it's done, it'll just automatically leave it on the site for me. And that way I can add it to a playlist later, the quiz playlist, and you'll have it available. So thank you. Vicky is singing, "We are the champions, my friend." Except you probably sing it better, Vicky, than I do. Great, great, great. Somebody said, afraid, I missed AFRASIAB. AFRASIYAB. Thank you. Is asking, is there a time limit when taking the CCNA exam? The answer is yes. So it's going to depend a little bit on your native language and what language you're taking the exam in. But all that information is available from the test provider, which is VUE in the States. They may do it internationally as well. But I seem to recall it being like 2 hours or 90 minutes. I forget what it is, but it is a timed exam. And there's approximately 100 questions, maybe 102, 103 questions. So the easier ones, you want to clip through. Like, what's this? You read the question. That's the answer. And then move on and try to forget that last one. Just like brush it off, move forward. And some of the questions may take 2 or 3 minutes for you to think about. Like my questions today, most of that I gave you 1.5 to 2 minutes on these questions because they took a little bit of thinking. Like, what would this be? What would that be? And others are very simple. That you say, oh, this is the technology for that, and this is how that works, or something. So it is timed. Chica is saying that what should I study to improve? Here's what I tell everybody, Chica, not just you. When studying the CCNA from Cisco, I would go to cisco.com, go to certifications, and download what I call the blueprint. It's not really a blueprint, but it's really the exam topics. They have 6 domains and what they want you to learn and know. And I would download that. And then I would purchase, some kind of training material that covers every single, or that claims to cover every single one of those. Maybe it's a book by Wendell Odom or a book by Todd Lamley. Those are great resources, by the way, that covers all the topics. Or a course, if you're watching videos. Udemy has courses. I work at CBT Nuggets. We have a great course. Jeremy Chara, Network Chuck, and I, and Knox created the CCNA training course over at CBT Nuggets. That's also not free, but it's subscription-based. But get some course that's highly rated, that covers all the topics, and then tackle it. Yeah, start going through it, and then just rank yourself. How am I doing on this topic? Like OSPF, for example, 1 to 5, 5 being great, 1 being low. And the first time I heard about OSPF, back in the 80s, it was like, I don't know what that is. So for my case, it'd be a 1, like, I don't know what that is. And then as you start to learn about it, maybe a 2. And then learn the concepts and the hellos and the, was it TAN-TED? I've got a video I did on remembering the neighbor states, or on all the things you have to match for a neighbor. I think it was TAN-TED was the acronym I used, or the acronym? Anyway, when you put the letters, the first words together. In any event, get some material that covers everything, start studying it, rank yourself, track it, and lab up everything. That's how you get better. There's no secret. It's time. I have 7 children, whom I love. They're fantastic, and they're all so different. And they're all wonderful. And the key is that those 7 kids, I used to have 7 theories on raising kids, and now I have 7 kids and no theories because they're all so different. But the secret is time. I know this from my experience now, and I didn't always do a perfect job of it, but it can't be like quality time for 10 minutes a day. And that's not, because 10 minutes a day is, even if it's like super quality time, is not okay. It's not enough. And I'm going to apply that to learning and studying Cisco. You can't say, I'm going to study 30 really good minutes a day, or, maybe that, you could probably make good progress, but I'm going to study 30 minutes a week, really quality time. You have to have quantity. There's just no getting around it. You need quantity of time dedicated to focus on your studies. Maybe that's an hour, 3 or 4 days a week or something. But so that's how you get better. Just give yourself the time and then commit to others and get it done. And I know drama because I'm a little bit dramatic sometimes, but when it comes to studying and getting stuff done, you just need to shut up. Sorry, this is live. I shouldn't say that. But you just need to shut up and do it. Don't tell people you're going to do it. Committing to others is great. But I'm going to do this. Is like, take all that energy and just do it. Anyway, okay. I'm going to relax a little bit, relax my shoulders. So, just get it done, and don't let anything stand in the way of you actually doing the work. Don't let social media get in the way. Don't let other things in life that are, sometimes we have obligations. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have obligations, right? I got stuff I got to do. I've got this community I'm happy to support. And so those are priorities. And so I get those done. And so is my study. So, all right. I got a little bit off track there. Please forgive me. Good to see you. Okay. All right. Is there any difference on ACL implementation in Juniper and Cisco? The answer is yes. Entertainment with A is saying hello from Afghanistan. Fantastic. Rishab is saying it's not good to apply ACL on HTTP rather than the entire IP protocol. So with an access control list, the goal for CCNA is to understand the syntax and what the access control list is matching on, because that's the skill you're going to use going forward. So as far as like how you'll use it or how you'll apply it, we might have a whole wide range of things we need to do. Like, oh, we need to stop. There's a new malware that's just been discovered. It's using TCP port 6783 or something. And we need to block on that specific port right now on all of our devices. So if we're doing it the old-fashioned way, you'd go to those devices and create the ACL with the specific port. And because you know the syntax, you can apply it. More realistically, in a current environment, you'd use some kind of controller. Tell the controller, I need to block this port on everything. Switches, firewalls, routers, everything. And have the controller push it out for you. But if you don't have the controller, you have to do it manually. But you still have to know what the syntax is to make that happen. Or the logic is anyway. All right. Kranti's asking how to organize things properly for learning. This community matters to me. It does. I want to help everybody by giving them the straight shot regarding getting stuff done. And life is busy. It is. And so I'm going to share with you a secret that I have used in the past and I continue to use, especially when things get really like tight time-wise. I have a sheet of paper. This is a blank sheet of paper as this demo. And I have a list of all the stuff I got to do. Maybe I put it over here on this side. All the stuff I have to do. And then I have 2 columns to prioritize it. This is the Keith Barker methodology that I borrowed from somebody else like many decades ago. And I'll have 2 columns. One is long-term importance. Like for my long-term importance, like my life and my goals, how important is this thing I have to do? And 3 would be really high long-term and 1 would be, yeah, not so much. And then I have another column called short-term urgency. And for the short-term urgency, here's an example. Rent is due tomorrow. That's pretty urgent. I need to pay that right now. I can't just like, well, I'll do it next week. And so then I take the total of those 2 columns, and you can make up your own scale, but I use 1 through 3, low to high. And then I would just add those up, the short-term urgency and the long-term importance. And I would then identify what are my highest numbers. Sometimes I have 6s on there. And then I circle all the 6s and I say, that's all I'm going to do today is my 6s. I'm not going to be able to do everything, but I'm going to do these 6s. They're my category A, my highest priority. And then if I finish all the 6s, right, then I can go to the 5s. And if I finish all the 5s, then I go to the 4s. So you work on and that way we're focusing on the high, what I feel is a good balance between what's the most important thing for us to do right now. Yep. So there's no really getting around that. It's just a matter of quantifying it and then doing it. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Thank you, Trevor, for that comment. Let's see. Anything else for me? George is asking, how do I manage my time? I just saw your question, so I think I covered that. I also I keep up to a pretty good routine. I get up in the morning and I do 15 to 30 minutes of cardio almost every day. I do a little bit of strength training, nothing impressive, but just to remind my muscles of why they're there. And that usually gets me going in the morning, and then I go down my list of things I got to do. And then I try to psych myself up by saying, these are what I get to do. But you know what? My life's pretty good. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I am. That's part of my goal is to help as many people as I can with their entry into the world of Cisco networking and get it down right and learn the fundamentals so you too can progress and continue to grow forever. And that's my goal for every one of you. All right. Snur is saying, I learned something new today about outbound ACLs and traffic generated from the router. You're very welcome. Yeah, Trevor saying, just do it. And Shia said that also. Mnemonic. Thank you, Brandon. That's the TAN-TED mnemonic for what has to match for OSPF neighbors. Thank you. I'm part of a team, part of the crew. All right. Let's see what else. Yeah, thanks, Brandon. Do it first, then tell others, Vicky. Yeah. And I'm guilty of in my own life, like if I commit to this channel and to everybody here that I'm going to do something, there is positive pressure that I've just put on myself to get it done. So that in that aspect, I like that positive pressure. Like when I was going to get my new CCNP certifications after, they Cisco revved them and update my CCI and so forth, I committed and then I did it because I knew I had that commitment. So that can help us. As far as the big goals, how do I say this gently? There are individuals in our lives, generally speaking, that we are aware of or we had come in contact with that may not be too happy about us progressing. Now, that's not most of them. Like your mom and dad and your children, hopefully, and your spouse and your friends who all love you. They are behind you. They want you to succeed. They want you to do well. But there are, some other people in our hemisphere, our world that may not want you to succeed. And that's true. So I just take the naysayers and say, I don't have time for that. Gently, be kind to everybody and just get it done. Just do it and succeed. Like people will come to me and say, I'm 57. And when I was 16 years old, I looked like I was 12. I got pulled over like 7 times by the police in Southern California where I grew up because I looked too young. I looked like I just took my dad's car for a joyride. And I was 5 feet tall. True story. And so where was I going with that? I have totally lost my train of thought. I have no idea where I was going at. It was going to be something amazing, but I got wrapped up in my own story and I forgot where I was going. So if it comes back, I'll remember. All right. Let's see here. Ali is asking, should I focus on configuring RIP and EIGRP? I saw some of the practice questions related to those protocols. I wouldn't worry about RIP too much. I would be in the blueprint. It says, how routes get in the routing table. Understand that. So I would say know the administrative distances for each of the default ones for all the routing protocols. Did you say all the routing protocols, Keith? Yeah, I would. BGP, external and internal. EAGRP, just internal. OSPF, just internal, which is 110 anyway. ISIS and RIP. I would be aware of those administrative distances. And then I would lab up a few times. I'd lab up the EIGRP because that's a little sneak attack there that you're going to want to know a little bit more about. And I've got some videos in the playlist on that too. All right. Thanks, Blendinator. Does CCNA offer a second shot like Microsoft? There have been times when Cisco does promotions for certifications where they'll, like near the end of a life cycle for a certification before it revs or things, they've done that before in the past. But they don't do it regularly, so beware. Let's see here. Any other questions from me? Somebody wants a syslog quiz. Syslog is a very small, like one bullet thing on the Cisco blueprint, but I can certainly include that. I think having a whole quiz on syslog, I guess in the case of Splunk, Splunk is an amazing company, makes amazing tools to sift through mountains of data looking for that needle in the haystack, and they do a great job of it. And syslog and other SIEM, security information event management systems are going to help with that. But I will consider that for future quizzes. I'll see if there's anything else. Okay. So Sarah, one of the comments, this will be the last one, is asking, I want to do CCNA. Some of my friends advice to watch your videos. Will it be just fine to watch and practice at home? Online courses are too costly. Please suggest. I would recommend this. There are individuals who have come to me and said, hey, Keith, I just watched all of your videos, which in my videos, I have like 30 or 40 packet tracer labs that I've written that you can have for free as well. They're all linked in my videos, thekeithbarker.com. You can download them and practice them. And the quizzes are also free. And I've had, like last week, somebody came and said, I watched all your videos. I was like, all my videos? That's like 130 plus hours of video. Anyway, they watched all my videos on YouTube. They did I think they did many of my labs. They went through the entire quiz playlist and they passed. Now, the reason they passed was because they practiced and they studied and they put in large amounts of time. So if you're on a limited budget, I would recommend at least a book or something that helps, as a framework for covering all the topics. And then my channel can certainly help, but I don't think I wouldn't recommend it being enough for somebody to go out and take the exam and pass it. I'm very nuts and bolts about a lot of things as far as the technology in Cisco CCNA. I've heard people say, "Hey, Keith, you're all business." And it is true. I do. I get kind of focused on, like right now I'm just kind of ranting, but during like quizzes and when I'm talking about technology, I'm pretty right to the point. Here's how it works. Here's what you need to watch out for and so forth. So if you're on a limited budget, I would get at least a book. And Wendell Odom's books, I think he has 1 or 2 that cover the entire CCNA. Todd Lamley has books. Those 2 gentlemen are fantastic. They do a great job of covering everything. And I'd say at a minimum, get those books or the books that cover the CCNA. And then use the free resources on YouTube to make up the difference. And then lab it up. Okay, Jay Strict is asking, what is TANMAT? It's one of my videos that talks about OSPF neighborships and the mnemonic, thank you earlier, the mnemonic for remembering the 6 things that have to match for, I don't have 6 fingers, the 6 things that have to match for OSPF neighbors to become fully adjacent and have it work. All right. Fred's stating, it seems like ACL numbers are limited in packet tracer. Yeah, so on a live gear, there are additional ranges of numbers that can be used for standard and extended, but it doesn't matter. So 1 through 99 for standard, 101 or 100 through 199 for extended, or you can do named ACLs for standard or extended. So the actual memorizing of a number, what number is that? That's not too critical, but it's enough. Packet tracer has enough to do the job. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. So ATRO is asking if I could do a course on Udemy. There are some good courses on Udemy. Udemy. See, Ubuntu has the U in front, so I sometimes call Udemy. But Udemy has some great courses on it, on lots of different topics. And so my current full-time gig is at CBT. They treat me super good, and I'm super productive there, and I'm making a difference there. So I don't think I'll be doing Udemy anytime soon. But my packet tracer labs are all free, and this channel is all free, and my quiz playlist is all free here on YouTube, so leverage those. All right, and Poma is saying hello from Russia. Awesome, glad you're here. And all right, Infested Jones is saying, I've been studying since 2012. Well, a lot of the technology hasn't changed too much. Module 6 is new, but a lot of the nuts and bolts of networking are still the same. And great to have you here. All right, and then Vicky's pointing out, thank you, the video, OSPF Fundamentals video where I talk about TANMAT. All right, that's it. I'm going to be in the CCNA voice room on my Discord server, which is also free. If you want to join us there for a minute, if you have a question you want to go over, one of the quiz questions, I'll have the quiz engine up so we can look at it. And this is the wrong time probably for me to look down and verify I'm on the right camera, which I am. See, the funny thing, it's funny, it can be funny if I'm like this the whole time. And then, when I'm looking at the wrong camera. So this is camera 1 and this is camera 2. And if I'm on the wrong camera, very embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing. But part of real life. Okay, I'm going to be in Discord in a few minutes. If you want to join me there, that's great. There's a link in this video. If you're watching this after the fact, like the recorded version, the stored version of this, and you want to catch a new quiz, join us every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, for another Cisco-related, CCNA-related technical quiz on some topic from the CCNA blueprint. So I'm going to send you off, if I can find the button there, with some music, and I'll see you in the next live event, whenever that is. Bye for now.